Well, it's got to sting when two of your former defense secretaries publicly question your handling of the Syria crisis. Now, during a joint appearance on Tuesday night, both former Pentagon chiefs, Robert Gates and Leon Panetta, critical of the administration's handling of Syria. They agreed that it was a bad move to ask Congress to authorize for the use of force against Syria, but they don't see eye to eye on whether or not military action should have been used at all. Former Secretary Bill Gates said, I believe, I said Bill Gates, Robert Gates, excuse me, different Gates. I believe that to blow a bunch of stuff up over a couple days to underscore or validate a point or a principle isn't a strategy. Meanwhile, former Secretary Leon Panetta said, quote, when the President of the United States draws a red line, the credibility of this country is dependent on him backing up his word. Interesting that neither one of them thought he should have gone to Congress in the first place. And it was the other thing that came out today, which was for 6 months we've been having diplomatic channels between the U.S. and Russia over pretty much the diplomatic solution that we're pretty much on the finish line on, or at least trying to do. But it all sounded from the administration like it was just some offhanded throwaway line from John Kerry. This was the gang who couldn't shoot straight, this administration, Congressman, about they actually did more than they let on. And yet marginalize themselves, if the president ever wanted to go in, by running to Congress in the first place.
Well, this is real dangerous. This is not just embarrassing, it's dangerous, because when your adversaries don't know what you're going to do, then they will do something stupid, and then you have to step in. I mean, Saddam thought he could go into Kuwait, and we had to get him out. You can name a number of circumstances. So, first off, I want people to know that my president is decisive. I don't want the press to say, oh, this is a tough decision. We got to give him sympathy. No, because the outside world is watching. His speech was a disaster. He said he's speaking to Congress now, but speaking publicly in his Tuesday night address, this will be a small attack. Well, if I'm Assad, I'm not scared. It will have a short duration. Terrific. And there'll be no regime change. Wow. So, I mean, all the messages he sent. So whatever he does now is almost meaningless.
I know we debate about whether or not military action should be used, but do we agree that the time should have been right away?
Yeah, but right away, and if it wasn't right away, we knew he wasn't going to do it and didn't want to do it. I think what he should have said Tuesday night was, I've gone to Congress, but whether or not they support me, if I feel we have to go in, we will go in. And I think it should be clear in the negotiations over chemicals, this is not Congress's decision. It's my decision. I'd like them to support me, but I'll go in even if they don't.
I'm up against break, but I haven't agreed with everything he said. And I know that's not a popular sentiment. People said military action, like Secretary Gates, if it wasn't going to do anything, what was the point of it? But it was more about in the moment, right?
But see, I don't want him to go in. But he's got to say, and then he'd have to follow up. No, I think the most important thing is get the chemicals out of there. That is the most important thing. Get all the chemicals out.
Well, I was going to say.
Well, and that's not according to Putin this morning, who said that may never happen. So now all of a sudden Vladimir Putin is sort of the leader of the Middle East. He's the guy moving the chess pieces around. We are certainly weaker by this whole scenario. Nobody believes us anymore. We're not leaders anymore. Our whole foreign policy is a mess. And this was handled in such a poor way by a president who clearly has no interest in military action.
But, you know, I don't mind if Putin gets
Isn't
the
that a
credit.
good thing, though?
Yeah,
Isn't that a good thing that we have
that
a
we're
president?
weaker?
That we have a
weaker?
president
That
that's
we're
not.
weaker?
No. No one wants to be weaker. And I know
But we
Rich
are.
said, but isn't it a good thing that we have a president that was elected on a platform of avoiding war and not wanting to go to war? Isn't that a good thing for America?
I know
No
you
president,
guys
no
know
president wants to go to
public's
war.
gonna dominate
George Bush
this.
didn't want to go to war.
And who says we're weaker? You're saying we're weaker. I don't think the leaders in the Middle East would agree that we're weaker.
You think that people around
I absolutely don't.
You think those leaders around who believe or trust that, you think the Syrian rebels who we've been telling that we're here for you, we just pulled the complete rug out for them?
You see a whole line of countries lining up to take on the United States?
Well,
Thank you.
What does that mean?
No.
Well, if we're so much weaker, then you think
What
every
happened to-
time Dick and Harry's
I will
picking
tell
on
you,
us.
I will tell you, I don't think any country can trust us. We
Thank
told,
you.
you know, the Libyan leader, if he gave up his chemicals, that would be a good thing. We told the generals in Iraq, if they didn't fight us, that they would still be in power. And that's so it's happened under different regimes.
How did all that work out for Gaddafi?
Right. The whole point is that's a message to Assad: don't give up your chemicals like Gaddafi did.
But here's the challenge.
Right.
In the districts, if you're elected like me from a small group, there is so much hostility, to your point, about going to war.
There's a fatigue, right?
It's more than fatigue. It's more than fatigue.
So-
It's anger. You better not put my son and daughter over there and spend our
Then
money.
don't- then
guys,
don't
let's keep
enlist.
this conversation
Don't
going to break.
enlist.
When we come
There's not
back,
a
we're gonna
draft.
switch
There's
gears.
no draft
I
in
want
this
to start
country.
again. You're going to love this new commercial. It's a political ad. And even for you folks who've been through and seen it all, I don't know if you've seen this one. This is good. Stay with us.